And for anyone who's familiar with Mirmont, it's actually a very small hospice. It's part of St. Patrick's Geriatric Hospital on Wellington Road, and they only have one floor. But the amount of work and the care they give there is totally incredible. There's a beautiful garden, and my sister had been in there earlier in the year because the home care team couldn't cope with their pain at home because it was so bad. But her husband used to bring in their 2 dogs, and they used to go walking in the garden with the 2 dogs, and they actually have 2 dogs in the hospice who come calling to the patients several times a week. And it's all those complementary therapies that are so essential. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Pat Grogan, and I'd just like to say, having seen Susie getting there on the screen, that she lived for equality, and to listen to the medical people speaking here and speak about the plans that are in existence for a hospice, and they're not being, the funds are not being provided, obviously, at the moment, and the potential amount of time that it may take to raise €2 million. I think that there is an opportunity here, that we demand from the government immediately that they fund a hospice in Kilkenny. I think it is a unique opportunity, and Susie did fight for equality, and the people of Kilkenny are entitled to the hospice. And as this gentleman said beside me, we do pay our taxes. And I know some of the people here as well who have been previously involved in fundraising, and I don't doubt for a minute that they would be committed totally to it and probably would raise the funds or go a long way towards it in a short length of time. I wouldn't think it would take them 4 years to do it. But at the same time, we do have an opportunity here tonight, a very strong number of people, a good number of people, and I think that it should be put forward here tonight as a motion, maybe from this meeting, to say that we 100% demand funding for a hospice for the people of Kilkenny now. Thank you.
I'm just going to bring up the point these 2 gentlemen made, and I think it's very important. It is a good time. Within the next few weeks, there's going to be a design team appointed to the hospital. There's funding for a new A&E department and a new outpatient department and a new community day hospital. This will be for older people. And a design team is a massive group of architects and engineers who are fully capable of designing everything in. Now, if they're just told that they're appointed, they're going to be paid, and they should be just told there's going to be a hospice there, and just design it into the plan of the hospital. Now, it won't be 2 beds in one ward and 2 beds in another ward that may be taken up or blocked. It's going to be in a totally separate area. It's going to be the ethos of a hospice, all the things that this lady so elegantly put. And I mean, it must be in the design team's brief, and they can just be told, you're getting paid, you're going to design all these other things, put this into the right place and just do it now.
Mr. Michael O'Brien, and I can see you're desperately seeking we all are desperately seeking a sequence at the beginning of what we need to do to provide the services here that we need, and this service in particular. And if we were to wait for a building to be provided and all of the pieces to be put in place before we start, there would be no rent crisis centre in Kilkenny. There wouldn't be one in Carlow either. I think that there is also a possibility to do this in an organic way. I mean, we tonight heard almost entirely people with experience in acute hospital care. We have a centre of excellence in Kilkenny as well, in St. Columba's Hospital in Palmerston, which provides for the county of Kilkenny, the city and county of Kilkenny, geriatric care in a way that is exceptional. And there are people employed there in that care, and have been in some cases all their lifetime, who could be seconded into a small unit, wherever that unit might be. If we go to waiting for the government to provide the funds to put a building up and to put all the other pieces in place, I'm afraid the possibility is that in 6 years' time, yes, we might have it. But I'm not sure if that's good enough. I think the case was made in the year 2000, has already been outlined by the previous speaker, in writing in 2000, following a consultation process where Kilkenny was identified as an area that should have this service. So I would suggest that, as a public representative, and I know some of my colleagues are here as well, I see Councillor Lampton and Paul Cuddihy is as well here, and we will do what we can to embarrass the powers that be, to make the provision follow this as quickly as possible. It's just a question of where do you start. And I would suggest that we would look at other options other than the standard way of doing things, of looking for a unit and then being dragged into this process of being put into a pipeline, at the end of which we don't know where it's going to be. And as long as there was buoyancy in the economy over the last number of years, we didn't get all we wanted with that buoyancy, and that's unlikely to continue. And we would then get the answer, we have no money, it's all gone, it's spent. So therefore, I would suggest that I would be glad to work with all of you to bring a situation where we will provide another option, just in case the option of a fully fledged and finished unit is thwarted by the authorities, which I believe it will be. And that would give us the kind of scope I think that we're looking for. Thank you.
I think it was in about 1991 that a group got together in Cavan and got a greenfield site about 2 miles away from the hospital and built a beautiful hospice. That's doable. I think what clearly came across from Conor and from previous speakers was that it's about what people need. Mary Mount, as another speaker said, it's not about the building, it's about the staff. That unit in Cavan, it never opened. It was handed back to the health board, it was used as offices, and it's something else now. Around the same time, they built a 2-bedded unit onto Monaghan General. But they put it in such a stupid place off a ward that it was unnurseable without extra nursing. It never opened, or at least it hadn't. Unless it opened in the last few years, I stopped paying attention. They changed, in Roscommon, they changed the storage and physio area into a designated unit, Laura Ashley Curtin's ensuite facility. Put it off the end of the surgical ward. The staff couldn't nurse it without extra staff. The powers that be weren't forthcoming with the extra staff. That would have been a palliative care unit. It had people in for day cases and ingrown toenails for a very long time. I think we have to remember that this document talks about a couple of levels, and with a proper core unit, a hub, with properly resourced multidisciplinary home care teams going to see people wherever they are in district hospitals or nursing homes or in their own homes, supporting the GP and the public health nurse, and starting to develop a hospice at home service too, that people won't have to be in a hospice to get the best possible hospice care. But there will be times when they need to come in to where they can have things that are reversed, where they can have a full multidisciplinary assessment to see, do they really need to be like this now, or can they be better than this? And what can we do in all the psychosocial things that Conor described to move things along for them in every dimension. Now the HSE will fund that, but it is clearly defined as to how that is resourced, that people are specially trained, that they're specialists in what they do. But it won't take away in any way from having hospice units in district hospitals like Carlow District and other places, as you said, Thomastown. Fabulous care going on there. But this would be a hub from which all that would emanate. So it's just to be mindful that if you build something like that, they won't, I don't feel they'll take it on. It's not there, they haven't been in that inclination to take it on.
when you asked us to interrupt you, but I just say that
Yeah.
I was a member of the health board for 15 years. I was a former chairman of the health board, and I can tell you that if we put it into their hands to buy a unit that's fully equipped in every way, we'll be left waiting. Unfortunately, that is the experience. I'm really saying that today, tomorrow, we have in our capacity here in Kilkenny, we have the space, we have the people, we have the experience of the home care team, which would never be there either if it wasn't for a courageous group, a small and courageous group of people who didn't wait for the authorities to move and went on themselves, like the Red Crescent people did as well, with a huge amount of courage. And I'm really saying that I think we should have, if we can, another string to our bow when we start this process, and I don't doubt this one will succeed.
And I mean, yeah, St. Francis and Harold's Cross, they all started up like that. And you know, certainly that is one way of doing it. I think that to get them to take it on from a human resources point of view, to staff the thing in the way, I mean, building it is expensive and all the rest of it. One off and it's done. The staffing is what they won't take on. It's, as you know yourself, it's that, okay, they can spend millions on the unit, but getting them to commit to spending millions every year with ad infinitum is where all those other, you know, ventures fell down. But, you know, if you can do it. But I do think that, well, I'm not going to repeat it, I do that they have committed themselves in every way except the funding for this. And if there's nothing I know, but if there's nothing, okay, I'm sounding really, you know, a bit bad maybe saying this, but they cannot resist money, free money, you know, and that's what I think that Francis said looks improving over time, but I know you're right.
I think it's about time really that we started winding things up. It's been a really marvellous evening and very inspiring and encouraging. When Susie went on the radio at the start of this year, she tapped into something both locally here, I think, and far and wide in the country. And it's something that I can feel here in the room tonight. It's what the Americans, like Susie, would have called people power, which literally means the power of ordinary citizens to control their own destiny. And I think there is such a will in the room tonight. I have no doubt that the Susie Long Hospice will become a reality in Kilkenny. The question's been asked over and over, how do we start, what do we do? Well, the first thing we can do is buy the packs of Christmas cards tonight. They're really good value, €5 for a pack of 6, all painted by artist friends of Susie's. I certainly will be buying a pack, and I'm sure nobody's going to sneak out the door without one. One other thing, Anne from the committee, who's here, just said to me beforehand that a lot of people at Susie's memorial service asked how they could become involved in getting this great project going. And Anne's going to be sitting over at the table taking names, phone numbers and initiative ideas. And one final thing, the committee has come up with quite a simple slogan, but it's something that we should all keep in mind, and maybe we should go out of here tonight thinking about this. The slogan is, at the end of the day, it's for all of us. Thank you very much.